the most important thing here is the courageousness of the president's act. I know there were many, many, many people who told him in an election year, don't do this. Let Roger Stone wait maybe for a pardon after the election. Sean, I don't think I would have lived that long, not with my asthmatic condition, not with now 60 COVID-19 cases in that prison.
And so with this, Donald Trump apparently saves a life. The president said today he's getting rave reviews for commuting his longtime friend Roger Stone's 40-month federal prison sentence. We learned today the president's clemency grant doesn't just keep his friend Roger out of the slammer. It voids all parts of Stone's sentence, including a period of supervised release and a $20,000 fine. Stone was convicted of lying to Congress and witness tampering. Meanwhile, former special counsel Robert Mueller broke his silence this weekend about Stone's commutation. It was in the Washington Post where he wrote, quote, Stone was prosecuted and convicted because he committed federal crimes. He remains a convicted felon, and rightly so. We made every decision in Stone's case, as in all our cases, based solely on the facts and the law and in accordance with the rule of law. The women and men who conducted these investigations and prosecutions acted with the highest integrity. Claims to the contrary are false. Back with us tonight, Tim O'Brien, executive editor over at Bloomberg Opinion. He's back from his role with the Bloomberg presidential campaign, which seems like a couple decades ago by now, and he happens to be the author of Trump Nation, The Art of Being the Donald. So, Tim, we are led to believe that A.G. Barr spoke up against this, though A.G. Barr happens to be the hero of many a leaked story about A.G. Barr, as subservient an A.G. as we have had, certainly in the modern era. Do you think that it's possible that Trump cast aside any integrity and rigor of the DOJ vetting process for commutations and chose to bail out a buddy of his?
Brian, that's so cynical of you to think that this president would cast aside the rule of law, process, and good advice to do what served his own self-interest. Of course, I think that's what happened. This president never leaves much room for critics to end up being wrong. A year ago in 2019, a day after Robert Mueller concluded his Russia investigation, Donald Trump picked up the phone and tried to strong-arm the leader of Ukraine into digging up dirt on Joe Biden. Last Thursday, Chief Justice Roberts issues I think a landmark Supreme Court decision saying that the president of the United States does not exist beyond the reach of the law. And then a day later, on a Friday evening, he proceeds to commute Roger Stone's sentence because Donald Trump doesn't care about the rule of law. And I don't think that Bill Barr is merely subservient. I think Bill Barr enables this behavior and he empowers it. Bill Barr had meddled in the sentencing of Michael Flynn. He has long let it be known that he favors an imperial presidency with a president who operates at will and to a large extent beyond the rule of law. So I think they're very much aligned here. And I think, if we're to take a cue from what's happened on recent Friday evenings from the U.S. attorney being pushed out in the Southern District of New York to Roger Stone seeing his sentence commuted, Brian, I think you're going to have a lot of news dropping on Friday evenings on your show between now and Election Day.
It certainly,
unfortunately,
has changed the complexion of summertime Friday nights in our business.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.